Brooklyn's been partying since they got Kyrie and KD. You know what I'm saying? So there's I don't know if there's going to be as much celebration though, because on one half of the end you have a bunch of fans who are happy, about the prospect of James Harden coming over here, but then you have other fans, shout out to Manny, who are saying that they don't want to gut their entire team. That sounds similar to what the Knicks did when we traded Melo to the Denver Nuggets. I mean, traded for Melo from the Denver Nuggets, where we kind of gutted our whole team and was kind of left with just him and a broken down Amari Stoudemire. The difference is though, you're gonna have three superstars on your team. The only problem is you just want to see, is it going to work? Because all of them, in a sense, with the exception of with the exception of KD, Irving and James Harden needs to have the ball in their hand to be prosperous. So we'll see what happens, y'all. But don't ask me about no Brooklyn Nets, man. Come to me with the next question, bro.
Mike, what are your thoughts when you hear Harden to the Nets and possibly teaming up with the likes of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving?
Yo, I think it's an embellishment of riches. Like, I think it's crazy. And first, just to be clear, I think the Nets should do it. I mean, the NBA has a very clear history that whoever has the most stars, 99.9% of the time win. Detroit 2004 Pistons notwithstanding, if you got two MVPs potentially on one team, assuming KD's healthy, there's two MVPs on one team with Kyrie. I was telling a friend of mine earlier, it's OKC on steroids. It's what James Harden and KD already played together. Kyrie is a less erratic Russell Westbrook. He's smaller, but he's less erratic and a better shooter. You have that mix, you just put whatever around them. And we know the same things that were said about the Rockets potentially blowing up or depleting their bench, that was said about LeBron, D-Wade, and Chris Bosh going to Miami. That was said about KD going to the Warriors. That was even said about Anthony Davis going to the Lakers. They were saying, why would the Lakers give up all of these things for Anthony Davis? Lakers won the championship. So ultimately, you get the best players available. If all these players are not at the level where there are closers like that, you have KD, who is the closer, that makes that mix work. So if I'm the Nets, you do it. And as Jordan said, Houston, it's a mess right now. They're throwing everybody. They're sellers right now. So at this point, you just start over. You know the rebuild is coming. Just rebuild and start over. But I like it for both teams.
Coach, Ricardo Etienne said to ask the tough question that says, can the Nets finally take over New York officially now if they get James Harden? What are your thoughts on that, and how long is it going to take for this trade to actually go through?
Listen, that's not going to happen, because it's just I'm not even being a hater. When the Mets were rocking in the 80s and they had Doc and they had Darryl Strawberry, they had it for that time. But this is a Knicks city still. It's going to take another generation for it to become a Nets city. You have to start off with the youth. You got to start off with the kids. Those Nets fans who will be Nets fans now, who will be Nets fans for the next 30, 35 years of their life, and then they're going to have their kids that are Nets fans. That's how you take over a city. And you even see with the Lakers, with the Clippers, that still hasn't happened. I mean, the Lakers have won championships, so we can't compare them to the Knicks, but it's tough to take over a whole base and be that city's team. Like I said, the better example is the Mets. The Mets, 80s, were rocking. Doc Gooden, Darryl Strawberry, Keith Hernandez. They were the bad boys of baseball. They won a championship in 86, I believe. Yankees were at the bottom of the pits. Nobody was going to the Bronx. And then all of a sudden, money started to pour in, and everybody was still rocking those Yankee hats, those NY logo Yankee Jay-Z hats. So it's going to take a little bit more than just one championship or two championships for it to be Net City. Are we going to share the city? You best believe it. The city will be split because the excitement is going to be in Brooklyn. I'm not even going to lie to you about that one. The excitement of those three guys together, that will be a hot ticket. People will be flocking and more to go see the Nets. I just hope Nets fans can afford the tickets, because you see what we did to you even when you had KG in them. It was more Knicks fans in the buildings than it was Nets fans.
So what are your thoughts here? The trade hasn't gone through yet. There are a lot of rumors circling around that the Rockets want Kyrie Irving in return, and there's a lot of different things going on. What's Wome here?
That'll never happen. That'll never. They will not throw Kyrie into the mix, because there's a real friendship between Kyrie and KD. That's one thing people have to understand. If you're not gonna, KD would never sign off Kyrie, and Kyrie's the one who kind of KD was waiting for Kyrie. That's who made the decision. You know, Kyrie said, I want to go to Brooklyn. KD was like, all right, we're going to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So
what's going to get this deal done to get James over here to Brooklyn? Or is it even going to get done? Or is there another team possibly in the mix?
The agreement is done. But what Houston is doing is they're being smart. I'm pretty sure they leaked out that agreement to try and get other teams in the East to overbid. You know, they want the Boston Celtics to come in there and say, hey, we're going to throw in Tatum. We're going to throw in Brown. I mean, no, I don't think the Celtics are going to do it, but that's why that verbal agreement leaked in the first place. People got to understand, these leaks don't come from players just telling their friends and then their friends going to Twitter. These leaks come from agents telling media people on purpose so deals can be sweetened or deals can be lessened. That's why the leaks are brought out in the first place. So for me, I'm pretty sure Houston wants to get a better deal, even though I think they're getting a pretty decent deal. I compare this to kind of like what happened with the Knicks and Carmelo Anthony. Like the Knicks game off the hall for Carmelo Anthony. Yes, the Knicks had a good 2 years, probably better than Denver, but whose structure was better built for the long haul after that Carmelo and New York and Denver trade? Denver got a lot of pieces, got some draft picks, and they built a structure and foundation. You see what Denver is now. You see where the Knicks are now. So, you know, Net fans, you got to understand, if you're going to do this, it's a 3-year window to win championships. If it doesn't happen, you're going back to the basement. That's what's
I know your favorite fan, Jay Lex, is flooding the comments. You could read up on those in a little bit because he's saying so many things about the Knicks. But I wanted to touch upon some.
I'm not listening to a guy who don't know how to do jump jacks, but teaches a show on doing jump jacks. I'm not doing it, man. I'm not doing it, Jay.
Okay, I wanted to touch upon something that's been bothering me, and when something's bothering me, I got to go off a little bit about this. And I've been seeing a lot of the LeBronians are saying out here, well, are we now accepting super teams because when LeBron did it, it was a big problem, but no one has a problem with James Harden doing it. Let me say something clear right now that people don't seem to understand and realize is that, again, that was 10 years ago. And we've said this before, that LeBron set the blueprint, and it's been 10 years. And us as NBA fans, we have accepted this new era when it comes to super teams. So therefore, we saw Kevin Durant go form a super team. We saw Anthony Davis force himself to the Lakers to win a championship. So why all of a sudden now that we see James Harden doing it, are we going to get upset like we were 10 years ago when LeBron did it? It doesn't make any sense. And I don't understand how LeBron is out there celebrating his championship and he's minding his business. And now we're in NBA free agency and we find some way, shape, or form to make him relevant by bringing his name up to the conversation of us comparing us as fans. It doesn't make any sense. So for those NBA fans out there who want to sit here and say that we're being hypocrites, we cannot sit here and do that because, number one, LeBron is the most polarizing athlete in the NBA. Everything that he does is overly scrutinized. So you can't sit here and compare him and try to make the standard of everybody else just like LeBron James. We can't do that. We can't sit here and do that. And frankly, it gets annoying. We're sitting here in NBA free agency and people are sitting here trying to compare. Why aren't we criticizing players for making super teams? Okay.
Listen, you got to add them or dap them. Who we talking about here?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Mac. That's what I'm saying.
Or dap them. Who we talking about? Who complaining?
Who complaining? Jeff C was complaining. Oh, Jeff C, you know, Brandon Falco was complaining. All the LeBron fans, all of them out there. I'll call them name for name. He said Brandon don't count. I'll call them out there. And then other people co-signing it. Eddie Gonzalez, all of them.
Jeff C pulled up. Jeff C just
pulled up. I'm talking to him, and he knows the guy. I'm gonna say it again. I'm talking to you, saying why aren't we comparing it to what LeBron did? We got to understand again. We're used to this. Listen, we're used to this now. For somebody to be an NBA fan for the last 10 years and tell me you're not used to looking for a super team, how many super teams we've seen in the last 10 years? We've seen it done, right? Every year there's a new guy. Kawhi Leonard forced himself to the Clippers and then demanded to get Paul George. And we didn't say nothing last year, and that happened last year. So what are we talking about right now? It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry.
You're not trying to super. You're not trying to win. That's just what it is now, man.
That's just what it is now, yo.
If you're not trying to super, you're not trying to win. Like you can't win without 2 or 3 superstars. I'm sorry, Miami. Miami did a great job this year. Bubble league. They worked their butts off, and kudos to them. But if you're not getting 2 superstars, you just playing to make the playoffs. You ain't winning.
We've been seeing this for how long though? Even before LeBron started to quote unquote dictate it. Look at the 80s. Look at that. Look how much stars was on the Lakers and the Celtics. Come on.
Yeah, now. But you know what it is? Part of the problem is LeBron fans will always feel like, oh, everyone has to get criticism just like he did for the decision.
That's crazy.
And that's part of the problem. It's always
the insecurities, Carl. That's all it is. It's the insecurities as LeBron fans. They're emotional, man.
The other trade that happened, CP3 to the Suns. A lot of people feel that was a great move. Mike, what are your thoughts on that trade?
Okay, so it gives them a chance. It gives Phoenix a chance to be an 8th seed. So, okay,
that's exactly what I said, and I got
criticized.
Mike, listen, that's exactly what I said, and I got criticized for saying that. Like,
no,
they get bumped in the first round.
It's common sense. So we gonna go off of CP3's one, I guess, revitalization year last season. We're gonna go off of that, and so now people are saying Devin Booker gonna lead the league in scoring, and DeAndre Ayton's gonna be like Shaq. Yo, okay, CP3 has the leadership, no doubt. So they may have a chance to sniff the 8th seed, and then if you just start thinking about the West, remember, this is not a down year with the West anymore. Like, the Warriors are healthy again. Denver's going to be better. Like, Portland's healthier. So this is not the same kind of
But Mike, hold on. But Mike, aren't we? I gotta play devil's advocate here. Aren't we? You gotta give him a little credit, because what do we think CP3 was going to do to OKC, who didn't even have a Devin Booker?
But that's what I'm saying.
So that's what I mean. So if he got that team to 8, I think he can get this team to about 6.
My second point is that this is not a down year. Last year was a down year. Half the teams in the league half the West teams were hurt. So you was able to get in, and it was a bubble. So you was able to capitalize on a funky year. But now everybody's coming back, except for KP. Everyone's coming back healthy, relatively healthy. So you got already 6 to 7 teams. That's
they could play.
The only spot they sneak in. What? What'd you say?
No, I was saying, I think if you add CP3 with a Booker who's playing the way he is, and Ayton getting a year better, depending on what they put around and how those players, I can see them matching up with Dallas.
No. That's what I'm saying. If you take out Dallas and you take out Houston's done, right?
Utah,
so that's
OKC's done.
OKC's done.
Yeah.
But you got, let's just do the top. Lakers, Warriors, Denver, Utah, Clippers, Portland.
You think Utah is better than Phoenix? You think Utah's better than Phoenix?
You think that team is better? Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying we're thinking. When I had this conversation with somebody the other day, I'm thinking it's best player for best player. You start and star. So we're basically saying that we believe Devin Booker is going to go to this next level with Chris Paul. If you believe that, then I can't argue with you. His trajectory does say he's probably going to hit, but I'm just saying right now, if you ask me who do I want, Damian Lillard or Devin Booker, I'm going to take Damian Lillard. Who do I want, Booker or Devin Booker?
So Zig, jump in here, man. You've been quiet. What do you think?
Well, I've been sitting here just waiting for my turn, but I always let Mike and Mac go ahead.
You gotta jump in. You gotta jump in.
But me personally, I gotta disagree with Mike. I don't think they'll just be an 8th seed. I think they could, like Max said, I think they could jump to that 6th, maybe even 5th seed.
Yeah.
Devin Booker took a huge step in those last few games, and I'm looking forward to it carrying over for this upcoming season. As we talked about DeAndre Ayton just now, he had a pretty decent year, and nobody really talks about it, I guess, because of all the stuff that's going on, the bubble and COVID and whatnot. But I think he put up 18 and 10 or 18 and 11 with a block. So we're looking for him to continue to get better. And Chris Paul, as you just said, Mike, is a leader, right? And Chris Paul is going to do his thing and continue to be one of the best assist men in the NBA. And I think they could get that 5th or 6th seed for sure, man.
Yeah, but for me, it also comes down to, you get the 5th or 6th seed, then what? You're gonna make it into the second round, or you're gonna make it to the conference championship? No.
I mean, you got to crawl before you.
But that's what I'm saying, Carl. There you go, again, Mac.
Walk before you run, man. Like you got to build. Like Phoenix is one of those teams where they really hasn't had a lot of success in a long time. Like, Phoenix is a good city. You can try and attract, somebody to come there if you're playing well. I'm not trying to say you're gonna be a big 3. You ain't gonna be the Lakers, or you ain't going to be what Golden State and the Nets are trying to do, but you can really become a real threat and not be a bottom dweller. Remember, this is a team that Devin Booker was really about to leave because he wanted to have a chance to make the playoffs. Like, he just wanted to get in the playoffs. Now you're talking about maybe getting into 6 or 5 where you possibly could get to the second round. That's a win for a franchise that hasn't been there in a long time.
Absolutely.
Jordan, what do you think here with the Suns?
I think the Suns are better than Mike's pointing them out to be. I mean, CP3, you just took the Thunder with no other star with him. I mean, his best co-teammate was who? Steven Adams, and he took them to be the 5th seed, 6th seed.
Yeah,
the 5th seed.
The 5th. They were 5th. Yeah, because the Rockets were 4th. Yeah.
So I mean, for him to take him that far, and then now you're adding a young star like Devin Booker, and then DeAndre Ayton. I mean, This team might go like I'm saying maybe top 5.